All right, boy, do we have a show for you today? My goodness gracious. And we are good to go. We are live for this episode 7 of Movies About Love. All right, we'll check the chat at the end of the stream as always. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I have for you today. Oh, you're not going to believe it. Since nobody on YouTube really cares about this movie, this all-time great, I ranked it S tier in my romance movies ranking stream that I did recently. And there's a reason for that, because this movie has so much to offer. Its rewatchability is through the roof. Michael J. Fox is better than Back to the Future, and it's just, you know, he really is himself in this movie, and it just captures lightning in a bottle. Everything about this movie is stellar, perfectly written, perfectly directed, perfectly executed. I can't say anything negative about this movie, and it's such a shame that, you know, most critics out there don't hold the same opinion. I guess because they got confused with Michael J. Fox doing other movies. Check it out. What I have for you guys is 87 slides. For once, somebody's got to do this movie justice. Don't worry, we're going to go through them very quickly. I'm going to tell you what the movie's all about. And yeah, spoilers, so you've been warned. It doesn't matter. Even if this movie's spoiled, you still got to go watch it. It's a unique viewing experience. And by the way, these images are not taken from a 4K screen, but I will be buying this movie in 4K. I can't believe I forgot to do that, but it really is worth it. This movie is just awesome, stellar, super, beyond excellent. And the way it captures love is just wow. That's why The Princess Bride for me is all-time favorite movie, because it has a bunch of everything. But this one is all about love, determination, and that's pretty much what it is. So let's go ahead and dive right into it, shall we? Alright, so we're going to go through these very quickly because 87 slides is no joke, people. I don't have time to explain too much, so let's go ahead and run through this. This is the first time I've ever done something this crazy. But it's worth it because nobody's done it justice. So, Brantley Foster is the name of Michael J. Fox in this movie. Brantley Foster. These are his parents in Kansas. And here he is, their son, kind of like working as like a farmer, you know, shoveling stuff there. All right. And so, so he's got his master's degree, from what I understand, his master's in business. And he goes straight to the city. I don't know, I guess it's New York. And so, you know, he goes to the city and they tell him, we'll go over that later. So he gets to the city and already he's noticing all the hot chicks. Because, you know, farmer's life, you know, there's not a lot of hot chicks. So he's on a mission to find somebody. His potential soulmate, right? Or at least somebody to have a good time with, right? So that's what I like about this movie. It's already upbeat, you know, walking on sunshine is a theme. This has such a great soundtrack. Please do look it up, all the songs, the OST, the original soundtrack for this movie, Secret of My Success. Let's go ahead and move on. So he just got to the city. He's loving it. He's going, making his way to his apartment right here. And here he is. So this is all he can afford, or his parents can afford also. It's time to be a poor man for a while. You know, got an entry-level job. So, I like, he talks to the rats here. He says, hey, keep it down, stay on your side, don't, you know. He kind of talks to the rats that are in there because he heard some rats. So the next day he goes over to his job and he's like, hey, nice to meet you. And they're like, sorry, you're fired. Yeah, bad news, right, already. He's like, hey, I'm Brantley Foster. He's like, oh, okay, well, everybody's getting fired, so go find yourself another job. So here he is. He's already feeling lost, like he just got there. Like, that's why this movie is so intense. It's just, like, so fast-paced. He's like, what am I going to do now? So he goes to talk to other people, is trying to get a job, and he's like, well, if I don't have any experience. The people are like, well, if we gave you experience, you just take that experience and find a better job. So that's just the way college life works, right? Meaning that once you graduate from college, a job doesn't fall in your lap. Did you bother doing internships? Did you bother, career searching? So he's in a tough situation here. And even is in the middle of a shootout in a phone booth right here. So the cops are all like shooting back and forth, and they actually shoot the phone booth, but luckily they didn't hit him. And like they arrest this guy, so it's like, and so he tells his mom over the phone, he's like, no, it's just the show, the TV show. Don't worry, Mom. Very funny scene right here. All right, so his parents tell him that, hey, if you get into any problems, here's your Uncle Howard's. Remember that name, Howard. Here's his card, his number, his contact details. He'll help you out, right? So this is back in Kansas, so they have a flashback now that he's in trouble. So he goes to the company that Howard is working on, all the way to the top floor, and he wants to speak to him and tell him what's going on. So here he is, and then he's a really like rude guy, and he says, "Okay, fine, I'll give you a shot, right?" And he says, "So you start in the mail room, and let's see if we see okay, right here." So he's like, I bet your secretary only gave me 5 minutes, and he's like 2. So Howard Prescott is his full name here. All right, that's his Uncle Howie. So here he is, just completely mesmerized. He's like, wow, I just got the job. Well, thanks, Uncle Howard. All right, so right here is a special scene, very important scene right here. And what I mean is, this is Christy. I don't think they say her last name, but maybe. But Christy all of a sudden comes in this scene, and this is extremely important. You'll know why in the end. He's just fascinated watching her, drink at the water fountain because he just had a sip in the water fountain. She's like, "Oh, may I?" So this is a very sensuous scene right here. Very, very, very erotic in my opinion because of the symbolism here of sex and sensuality. It's so beautiful the way it's filmed here. And he's just so fascinated in love that he starts hallucinating. All she's doing is drinking water, but you guys get the innuendos. Here she is in his, already he's fantasizing in her in a gown right here walking towards him. It's just so hilarious. He's like, you just met her, right? So attraction at first sight, people. Attraction at first sight. All right. So here he finally starts working in the mailroom, and he's enjoying it. And they're like, take off that ridiculous tie. They don't like college graduates, and like, what the heck are you doing here if you're a college graduate? Remember, he just wanted any job so he can climb the ladder. So they don't know that. And so, they tell him to just dress casual. And so, this is his buddy in the mailroom. He's very important throughout the whole movie. He gives him all the information that he needs to get started and to find out more about the organization. Because Brantley, he wants to do something. He wants to be successful somewhere. This is his supervisor / manager. No, his manager. He's a really strict guy. And so what happens during the movie is, just remember this guy, okay? Because he's going to start suspecting Brantley of doing things that he shouldn't be doing in the mailroom. But, so here's his partner once again saying, stop saying hi to the suits. They're the suits where you don't consort with the suits, We're just mailroom delivery people. And he's like, well, they're people like us. And he's like, yeah, but this guy just got canned. He got fired, and so they got to replace him. And so he's finding out just how destroyed this company is. I mean, it's just it's already a disaster. Even Howard Prescott himself said, before he gave him this cheesy job in the mailroom, he says, we spend like half of the nation's GDP or Mexico's GDP on personnel or something. So they're really doing bad. They're just firing all kinds of people. And later on, we'll talk about a hostile takeover that's planned to take over this company by somebody named Donald Davenport. So here, Brantley, he gets curious. He goes to where all the information is kept, all the records of the organization. He wants to find out why they're failing so bad. And so this secretary here is like, hey, just take all the information you want. Take it all. And so here's a scene where he comes back and he notices Christy, yeah, the blonde-haired fountain drinking chick, from across the way. And, you know, he starts fantasizing from the window here, and his buddy's like, hey, forget about it. She's out of your league. There she is. So just kind of getting a little peep, you know, because he's just completely mesmerized by her beauty. But in comes one of the funniest scenes ever, where Brantley is asked to drive the CEO, you know, Howard's wife, Vera, to her house. But he doesn't know that, you know, he's just like, oh, okay, the executive's wife or whatever. He has no idea that this is Uncle Howard's wife. So it's a very cute scene here where she's talking about how Howard is cheating on her with, well, it's Christy, by the way. You'll find out later, but gotta get that out of the way. And so he's like, are you kidding? You're being cheated on? Because she just told him openly. And he's like, you're just one of the... I just wish I wake up one day, you know, at your age next to a beautiful woman like you, you know, something like that. And she really gets turned on by that comment. And here she is smoking, and she raises the window up and down, and, you know, up, and then he goes down. And, like, so they're doing all different types of innuendos from the car's antenna in the back and the window that divides them in this limo. So it's really hilarious scene. So they're flirting the whole time. He takes her bags into her mansion house here. And then they start talking. Now, this is a very important scene. She's like, these trees, they suck up all the oxygen. He's like, oh, they actually produce oxygen. And she's like, who are you, Mr. Wizard? It's a really cute scene, back and forth dialogue here. She wants him to have a drink. And then she's like, you know, is there anything on this body that isn't firm? And he's like, no. So she swims laps and laps, and Howard just is not interested in her, you know? He's just messing around, you know, being that typical macho loser, and has no idea what he has at home. So, and she's like, well, okay, forget it. I'm just going to start cheating on you. So, I don't promote cheating, remember that, but in this movie it's hilarious because it's sort of like a revenge theme. That's to each their own. I'm not promoting any of this. I'm just saying that it's this movie has a lot put together, is what I'm saying. It's really worth the watch. So he's a little intrigued and confused, you know, like, or is this actually happening? You know, like she's all flirting and stuff. And actually, there's a sex scene there that I didn't want to, you know, show there. But they go swimming and they actually end up, making love in the guest house. And so he has to escape, and the dogs almost bite him. And because, you know, Uncle Howard comes home. I didn't want to take too many slides, you know, just wanted to sum up that because it's a little lengthy scene. But so Brantley, he comes up with the idea he's going to play two people. He's going to dress up in a suit and tie and play a character that he created named Carlton Whitfield. And Carlton Whitfield, I'm not sure why he chose that name. I don't know if it was somebody who I don't know. So now he has to change clothes from the mailroom casual to suits and to a suit and tie and play this role because he wants to make a difference in the organization. He wants to change things around. So see, here he is, contemplate. He gets a phone call, you know, in this office. You know, eventually he'll get his own secretary. So he's thinking about possible solutions. And there we go. See, now he's dressing in a suit and tie. And this is totally just... he's just making this whole thing up and just having the time of his life right now. Because now he's not just working in the mailroom. He's trying to fix things. He wants to fix his whole organization, which is all backward and failing. So then he gets to meet Christy because he's in the suit department, you know, with the suits, you know. So... he goes to flirt with her a little bit. And she's thinking that that's not Brantley, it's Carlton Whitfield. That's the only name that she knows him by. So there he is, gets caught cheating, not cheating, changing by his secretary, because he got a secretary finally. And so the secretary's like just wondering why the heck he's changing in the middle of his office. Because he has to go back down to the mailroom and then change in the elevator. And, you know, also to go back into work with the suits. And so he's in his new office and he has to play two people in this huge building. All the way upstairs, all the way downstairs. So it's quite hilarious the way it's shown. There's a secretary. I think it's Gina, if I'm not mistaken. Or Jean. And then so now he's just talking to Christy like he's one of the suits. There he is. Getting to know her. And she's like really like standoffish, you know, because she doesn't trust men at all. She's really just to herself. I guess because, you know, she's involved with Howard Prescott, so she already knows that he's cheating on his wife, so she's probably kind of just messed up with that, but stuck with it at the same time, that affair. So here he is at Brantley. Well, this is Carlton Whitfield he's playing. All the way to the right with Christy, right next to Christy, of course, right? Because he wants the girl and he wants to fix the organization, even if it's all through these illegal means. What he's doing right here, just complete impersonation, you know, of somebody else that he's not even. So, you know, he brings up some great points in this meeting, and unfortunately, you know, the guy in charge laughs at him, but he was absolutely correct. You know, he was making acquaintances that agree with him in his plans on how to improve the company. So here, Vera from the pool scene, she finds out that she actually finds out. This is very important. She finds out through the arrival of Howard during that scene where they had sex that it's Uncle Howard, and then so she's like, that makes me Aunt Vera, but she doesn't care that he's technically, you know, his aunt. And so she comes back to his apartment, you know, to want to make love again, and he's like, sure, come inside. And then meanwhile, Prescott is having his affair, you know, with Vera, with Christy here. And here he's caught changing. Carlton is caught changing in the elevator scene right here, because he's playing between Brantley and Carlton, upstairs, downstairs. Really funny scene. So then Prescott orders Christy to spy on Whitfield because he thinks that he's a plant, because nobody knows about this Whitfield character from Davenport. So Davenport's trying to take over the company through a hostile takeover is what they say. So then she has to spy. And remember, she's not involved with Carlton yet. But see, Carlton here is trying to hide away from Prescott because Prescott would easily recognize that that's Brantley. It's not Carlton. Who the heck is Carlton? So he's hiding his face here in a meeting. And then so, you know, they start talking, Christy and Carlton here, which is really Brantley, about the solutions for the organization. And then so she gets all exhausted talking about it, but she's ordered to find out everything she can about this guy. So they start to have a relationship. You know, they go to have a bite to eat because their blood sugar levels were low. And then this waitress says that they look good together. So, you know, a night out in town, downtown. And then it turns into love very quickly. I mean, here's a boat scene, you know, where it gets all romantic and she's like, no, I don't think we should. And then right here, getting too involved in the project that they're talking about. But then it just all falls into love. So they're in each other's arms and boom, there it happens. The first kiss on the boat. But it doesn't stop there. These two go all the way back to his apartment, as you can imagine. So, very romantic scene here. There's a lot going on. I mean, there's affairs on what? Two sides? And he's playing two characters. So you can only imagine how it's a little complex, this movie, but it's not difficult. So here he's asking, let's see, Howard is asking Christy, what did you find out? But now she doesn't want to be with Howard, and Howard's kind of wondering why not. He's promising Christy that he's going to get a divorce from Vera, but he never does, just to keep her hanging on, to have the two, right? Well, he's not really has anything with Vera, but he gets to goof around with Christy. So here, Howard finally wants to find out himself about who this Carlton Whitfield guy is and all of his plans. So he goes to his office, and he sees all these plans, and he asks Brantley, because now he's playing Brantley, but look, he's dressed up in a suit and tie. He's not supposed to. He's supposed to be in the mailroom, so he says that, I went to a funeral, so that's the reason why I'm dressed this way. I like this scene because he's like, he was a friend, we buried him. So it's kind of funny. He's just spooking around, but then Vera catches Brantley, who's playing, he's playing Brantley in this scene, also to Prescott Howard. So Vera Prescott here just takes him up against the wall. This is a very hilarious scene, literally crawling all up on him, and this is in Howard's office, so she doesn't care. And so Howard comes in, finds them, Brantley's trying to get her off of him, and it's so hilarious because they get caught together, but it doesn't matter because that gives Howard a good thought here, a good idea. He thought, well, if my wife likes Brantley so much, then, they should spend time together. That way I get more time with Christy. So he kind of recruits Brantley here, through this gym scene. And he says things like, hey, I want you to keep my wife Vera company. This guy is just such a jerk, man. He wants to invite him out to I don't know if it's a resort or some type of vacation area where they talk with other businessmen, investors. And this is his biggest failure because he invites Brantley over, who's pretending to be Carlton Whitfield. So this is where it all goes down. So he's like, hey, I want you to keep my wife occupied, And then he has no idea that he's trying to be with Christy. Actually, he does, but he doesn't know that. So Howard has no idea what's going on. Anyways, so he goes to the resort / vacation area, whatever they call it. And, Vera wants... Well, I guess Brantley. She knows it's Brantley. She has I don't think she has any idea of the whole Carlton Whitfield thing. No, I don't think she does. So she's talking to Brantley saying, okay, well, I'm going to give you a leg up if you want, and earlier in the movie. And he's like, no, I don't want a leg up. I'm going to make it on my own to the top. So here she insists that, hey, you need to meet these investors. They're really powerful men if you're so interested in changing the organization around. So she's a key player because she actually owns the organization. But she gave her husband the CEO position because they're married. But she's still, technically, I don't think she owns the organization yet, but later on she's going to buy the 51% majority, which is very important, to get her sweet revenge on her husband, her cheating husband. So, word of advice. Cheaters, stop cheating. There's negative consequences. Anyways, so, here he has to switch from Brantley to Carlton because he's in love with Christy. And they have a quick little kissing scene here in the bushes. It's really dynamic because he's playing between Brantley and Carlton the whole time in the whole movie. Switching back and forth. So here Howard takes advantage because Brantley is occupied with Vera. So now he can get focused on Christy. Christy rejects him. And then they have a meeting here where Christy's like, hey, I like Carlton's ideas. I think we could turn this company around. So Howard gets all upset. He's like, because everybody else is trying to agree with Howard just to kiss his butt, because they're all executives that want to keep their jobs. And so Christy just starts this whole revolution, so to speak, against Howard and his, because Howard just wants to just make more cuts, go ahead and give Donald Davenport the company, but let's not lose our jobs. So everybody else can lose their jobs, all the little guys except for them, right? The top executives. That's the plan. So here, Carlton, as he's playing, even though Vera knows that is Brantley, but he's playing Carlton to these other guys. All the investors, he gets to know all the key investors, big money. Here's another guy, and Vera explains who's who. So then, Howard starts to get curious. He's like, hey, I heard Carlton's here. And then, because he knows him as Brantley, Michael J. Fox here, right? So he says, please stay close to Christy, because he doesn't want Carlton, knowing that Carlton is with Christy, keep him away from Christy. It's so funny. You can see the dynamic here. It's just so crazy how he has to play two people, and who knows, the other people, like who actually knows him for being Carlton and who knows him for being Brantley. That's the main element of this whole movie, is the fact that he's just jumping back and forth in plain sight. And then so here, Carlton, known as Brantley to Howard, is telling Christy as Carlton, oh, Howard wants me to just keep a close eye on you. So you see how he gets his way? He's just like manipulating the whole situation. So then night falls, and this is not just a goofy scene here. This is a very important scene because stuff goes down at nighttime. I think what Vera calls it is a sexual escapade where, here you see Prescott, he wants to wake up and go sleep with Christy. And then Vera wakes up to go with Brantley. And then Brantley wakes up to go with Christy as Carlton. Just explaining it is completely crazy. Even explaining this movie, I think that's why many reviewers don't even touch this movie in greater detail, because they know that it's constantly switching between two people, and who knows Carlton or Brantley for who he is, whichever role. So here he finally makes it to Christy's room at night, expecting to find Christy, but instead he finds his files there because he's playing Carlton Whitfield. He's like, hey, why are my files in Christy's room? So now he knows that she's spying on him, because Christy didn't want to follow Howard's order to spy on Carlton. So big revelation here. And then so Brantley, I'm going to call him Brantley because that's what he originally started as. Well, that's his real name. He crawls into bed thinking it's Christy, but it's actually Howard. Very hilarious scene right here. Oh my goodness. And then so here everybody gets into the room because everybody's trying to find each other, but it all leads to Christy. And so right here is where Howard grabs Brantley by the shirt and say, let me get this straight. Brantley is Whitfield and Whitfield is Brantley. And then so Vera is arguing against the bimbo she calls Christy, because the bimbo is the girl that her husband is sleeping with. So you see all the complexity involved in this one scene. It's absolutely incredible the way they filmed this. So, okay, so now everybody knows the truth about everything, and here Christy, because, Brantley said, well, you're really good at your job, being a spy. And so she breaks down in tears. This is very important because that's like a breakup, for betrayal. And so here he's getting canned. He's getting fired by Howard because he's like, how could you do this, right? But he doesn't even know that Vera, that he slept with his wife. I mean, imagine that. It's just so much worse than what he thinks. All right, so sad scene, I guess, but he kisses and makes up literally with Christy in the elevator. As you can see them having a good time. Kind of goes along with the changing the, closing the elevator scene, but this time he hits the emergency and just to get a little bit of smooch on. Then the main final finale meeting happens. Very, very important scene because these are all the top level executives ready to cut everybody below just to merge with Donald Davenport with his hostile takeover. But then Carlton Whitfield, aka Brantley Foster, which nobody cares about anymore. Actually, here, he's no longer Carlton. He's actually Brantley Foster. That's a very important thing to know. Because now he did make it on his own, because He presents all the papers, all the investors, they bought the stock, the majority of stock, and now Vera has control over the company and fires her husband, Howard Prescott. So now the owner of the company is actually Christy and Brantley, and she's actually owner too. I think the president or whatnot. One of the positions. So now they all control the company, and he turned things around so Donald can just kick rocks, and they're going to move forward with Brantley, or a.k.a. Carlton Whitfield's business ideas to fix the company. So very, very romantic scenes, throughout the movie, if you paid attention. Because some people might have fell asleep during this movie. I don't know, maybe it was the soundtrack and watching it too late at night. But here, Vera, very important part at the very end, she actually falls in love with Brantley's supervisor from the mailroom. So very cute stuff here because Brantley finally gets what he wants. He gets the girl and he gets to run the company, with all of his knowledge and expertise in business. So the final kiss right here. And just to remember, the most passionate kiss of the whole movie was right here. And let me go ahead and check the chat. I really highly recommend this movie for those who haven't seen it. Only giving you guys the best that I remember. And once again, this is related to my ranking stream. My latest ranking stream with romantic movies. All right, let's go ahead and check the chat for any signs of intelligence. Let's see. Maria Olivares, welcome back. Lemmy, welcome. All right, let's see. Got here late. Love Michael J. Fox. Seen this movie. Funny. Oh, nice. You've seen it. Very good. Very good. I think I watched it once. Yeah, let me give it a second watch, because for me, I actually watched this when I was like 10 years old. Because there was no sex scenes, it was only implied. So I got to watch it, parents okayed it. But I don't know, borderline PG-13, not really. I mean, I think a 10-year-old could watch it, it's no big deal. They won't really understand it. That's why watching it again and again as an adult, I'm like, oh, now I understand this part, that part, all the parts you'll understand. If you give it a second watch, I promise you'll enjoy it so much better. And hopefully, these spoilers aren't going to ruin it for you. I don't think they will. I mean, this movie's been around for so long. I think it's an actual late 80s movie. But, let's see. Yes, crazy. You have to keep up with the lies. Yeah. He has to play two people, so it's very interesting. All right, cool. You're going to watch it. Yeah, you could probably catch it here, Lemmy, for free. Might want to give it a try, but I'm definitely going to buy this thing in 4K digitally, probably, because DVDs are just pretty much dead these days. But well worth it. I think it's all like I said, it's S tier, it's super tier, above excellent in my humble opinion. Some people call it cheesy. I call it just a simple, romance movie with a very well written script and characters, very awesomely performed. I mean, it's not like Oscar worthy because there weren't deep dramatic scenes or anything, but it's not necessary. It's just a fun film. It's very easy to watch. So, hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Got all, streams every day, hopefully. So, got another new one for you guys tomorrow. So, look forward to that. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Much love.